first one is Michael Connor. He says 2 releases on the same day. He says, so I shared a win previously about the song my boy Chris Bailey wrote for Fred Hammond, Marcus C, and Keith S, aka the OG commissioned fellas, with my string arrangement on it. So he did the strings for it. I'm on another track by an artist called Sherry, I believe, called Morning Backstreets, also released today. Super stoked and excited for these projects and very grateful for opportunities like these, hoping they create sync versions and get placed, road to 10 placements. Shout out to Michael Connor, man. Congrats on those releases and working with absolute legends. I grew up on Fred Hammond. My dad had a bunch of commissioned albums. We still rock Fred Hammond albums. My wife is a diehard commission fan. So yeah, we love them. James McGregor Jr. got a win. My first album accepted in the library. He joined that pitch a few days ago and uploaded his first album. Just received an email stating the whole album was accepted into a library. He says, do the work and trust the process, on to the next albums. Let's grow, y'all. Let's grow. Thank you, Clint. Appreciate that, James. Congrats to you, man. You put the work in, bro. I'm just providing the information, man, in the blueprint. So glad to see you guys taking action. And then we have one more win. Y'all been winning this week. Angel Porter, aka Zimzada Records, says, it's official. I have officially signed up as a publisher with ASCAP to go along with being a writer. Took me a minute, but I finally pulled the trigger and did it. So now I'll get my writer share and publishing when applicable. So shout out to Angel Porter, just doing it. She's prepared for any situation. Music supervisor, sync agents, whatever. She's covered on both sides. So shout out to y'all, man. Y'all out here winning. Kenneth Clark says, what up, everyone? Producer coming straight from Georgia. Erie Thames, what's up? Drummer living in Nashville. We got B-Rad Tunes and stuff. Drummer in Sacramento, California. The homie Miguel is in the building. What's up? So good to see y'all, man. Good to have y'all. All right. Listen, it's time to bring up my homie. I met him. He was like a producer at the time I met him. And then we were like, I knew he was going to crush it because of his mindset and just like his no excuse mentality to just go out there and make it happen. And we would just go back and forth, sharing wins, talking about royalty checks and all that stuff. So without further ado, I want to introduce my guy, Ty Frankel. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Hello. You guys can hear me okay?
Yes.
Amazing.
Master
it's a pleasure to be here, Clint. I really appreciate the time and the platform. And we go back to, 2014? I was just a young pup. I don't think I was 18 yet. So I was doing library deals actually when I was 17, and my parents were signing on my deals and stuff like that back when we were talking. So it's crazy.
Wow. That's wow. I didn't know that, bro.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
That's wild. So, man, when was that? And how did we even meet? Was it just on social media?
I think so. I started in sync in 2014. I started producing in 2012. And I think I met you right after I started, 2014, 15, road to 10 placements, all that good stuff.
Yep. Because I landed my first placement like 2013. And then that's when I started going hard like that following year. Because at the time I was like tied up in a publishing deal. But yeah, after that just went crazy.
We're old men, man. We're old OGs in the game now.
I know, man. I know. Yeah. Today's video is brought to you by TV Placement Mastery. This is my high-level coaching program for producers to fast-track you to your first licensing deal within 90 days. Now, this is an invite-only program, so you have to apply, and I only work with a few producers at a time. So just go to tvplacementmastery.com or click the link in the description to apply. So, how'd you get started, man? I guess let's start from the beginning, man, and then we'll just talk about how you just evolved into different areas of sync and business. Because I like, not only are you dope just on the music side, but you also have a business acumen that I feel like definitely helps in sync. So talk about that, man.
Absolutely. How I started, I eventually built a company called Shutdown Music. I think that's a good place to start.
Yeah.
We had 8 employees in-house. We had about 70, 80 artists we work with. I did a joint venture label deal with Universal Production Music when I was 21 called Frontrunners. which was a 6-figure a year deal plus royalties. That was great. Warner Brothers, Warner Chappell Production Music, one of my biggest clients, 6-figure a year contract with Red Bull. So basically I built a music house. I would executive produce everything. We had a bunch of artists. We made some objectively, I believe, like the best modern music in the game: hip hop, pop, R&B, Afro pop, Latin, EDM. And in terms of how I got there, man, 2012, I had a hip hop blog called Dungeons of Rap. Okay. And I was always a hip hop head since I was young. My dad got me a CD player in 04, 05. Eminem, Curtain Call, Bow Wow, Beware of Dog, Lil Bow Wow back then. Yeah. Outkast, Stankonia, some of my favorite albums. And I fell in love with it when I was young and started the blog in 2012. Was on Yahoo Answers hip hop forum. I was like a hip hop, like underground hip hop. Like I was all about conscious hip hop and lyricism. Yeah. It's a little different for me now. More about the energy, but people on the blog started producing. And I was like, whoa, you don't have to just listen to hip hop. You can make it? I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Yeah. So then I picked up FL Studio. One of my first few songs, I sampled Teddy Pendergrass. I know Big T, and I fell in love, and that's how I started initially in the game. Yeah.
That's what's up, man. That's dope. So what made you was sync like the first direction you decided to go, like when you just got into production, or were you trying to work with artists, or like what was like that journey like for you?
Dude, I was trying to work with artists. Like I was sending my beats out, my beats that were not good. I'm going to be nice. First 2 years producing, your beats are not going to be very good.
Trash.
Like,
absolutely.
It takes time. Time. So I was sending out to everyone under the sun: managers, publishers, PR people, artists directly. I remember this girl on Twitter, Sarah J. She'd be like, beatsforsarah79@gmail.com every time she'd make a new email. And I would fucking fire her beats right away and hoping one would get placed.
Yeah.
Eventually, I got one with G Herbo in 2014. I was 16 years old. He did a song to one of my beats called Love to Stunt, which was on his Welcome to Phaserland mixtape, when him and Lil Bibby and Lil Durk, Chief Keef, all of them were on the come up. I think Chief Keef was pretty established at that point, though. But I wasn't making a good living at all. G Herbo stole my beat. Funny enough. Crazy story with that. I ended up meeting him in LA last year off chance, and crazy story. But I wasn't making enough money. So then in 2014, I'm about to graduate high school. Into 2015, I'm like, okay, I want to do music, but 99% of these rappers are not going to pay for my services. Back in that day, it was SoundCloud and DatPiff, and a lot of rappers would just steal your beats and you wouldn't get paid anything. So I was like, I need to make a living off music. That's my passion. It's the one thing that I'm really good at and getting better at. I do every day. How can I do that? So that's how I made my foray into music for TV and film. And I started on this forum called Gear Sluts, now Gear Space, a little more PC. Yeah. Music for picture forum. There's a lot of heavy hitters in there. There were back in the day, and made some good connections and got my start like that.
Nice. Yeah, man. You just scour the internet, man. You'll find some opportunities, especially if you know what you're looking for. Sometimes even just stumbling across. Dope. Introduction into sync and getting that like first sync placement. How did that happen for you? Was it through just like a traditional sync deal with the library, or a collaboration with somebody who was already plugged in?
Yeah, great question. So, wow, my first sync placement. I don't remember my first placement. I remember my first royalty check. September 16, 2015. I was living in Israel with my mom. It was one day before my birthday, September 17th, my 18th birthday. And I got the check. And this was probably a year after I started in music for TV and film, maybe a year and change. You got to make beats. You got to sign them. They got to get out there. You get paid. Takes 6 to 12 months domestically to get paid. So it was for $460.94. If I remember correctly. I worked with a couple libraries, Mybe Music, Black Toast Music. I think Mybe was the one that dominated my first few royalty checks. Shout out to Pete over there. Way back in the day, 2014, 15.
Yeah.
And man, I got that check. Bro, I was bouncing off the wall for an hour with my mom. Like, we're like, oh my God. I was like dancing and jumping on the couch. And now I get a check like 40, 45K every quarter. And I'm just like, nice.
Love it.
So it's interesting seeing that contrast. But yeah, that was my first check. Probably 10, 20, 30 placements on there. So maybe 5, 10 pages of statement. I have to go back and check it. But
Yeah.
I don't remember my first placement. I remember my first check.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, man. So I think that's super dope and important to just keep your head down, knocking out the tracks, not necessarily focusing on, okay, when is this one track going to get placed or when, but create them, get them out. And once you see like the fruits of your labor, bro, it like literally lights a fire underneath you. And you're just like, okay, let's go all in. And it's so many opportunities out here, man. So many shows, so many uses within one show to really build a massive catalog of music that's working for you. So that's super dope, man.